Okay, you're going to have a quiz on either Tuesday or Monday, so here is your review video to let you go back over that step. We're going to start with what type of triangle is this? And remember, my first step is going to be making sure it can be a triangle. So step 1, I add together the two smaller sides, wherever they're at, and make sure that they're bigger than my big side. So 16 is bigger than 15. So it's a triangle. Step 1 done. Yes, it's a triangle. Now I just have to find out what kind. Step 2. I'm going to do the Pythagorean theorem. So 4 squared plus 12 squared is something or another to 15 squared. That is 16 plus 144. Is something to 225. When I add these two, let's see, 6 plus 4 is 0, carry the 1, 2. 120 is definitely less than 225, which means that I have one really big side, right? If I have one really big side, I have one really big angle, and that makes this an obtuse triangle. Okay. Now I'm going to do number 2. Let's find out if this is a triangle first, right? I always do this. If you skip this step, you may find out that this was a big triangle when it couldn't even be a triangle. So let's try 15 plus 17 is greater than 33. 32 is greater than 33. That is not true. Not a triangle. Okay, the second topic we learned that same day was finding x using the Pythagorean theorem. So here are two Pythagorean theorem problems, right? Over here, I've got that x is across from the right angle, which makes it C, or the hypotenuse, my biggest side. So that's going to be on the side by itself. Right? So I square these, 25. Plus 36 is equal to x squared. Let's add those two together. $61. When I want a x by itself and I have it squared, then I'm going to take the square root because that is the opposite. To get x by itself, I always do the opposite of what is listed. Right? So now take the square root of 61. Second square root. Oops. Second square root 61. Gives me that. Hit that button. 7.8. There you go. So let's do number 2. We've got across from this is 12, so that's going to be my hypotenuse, and the other two can be anything, right? 6 squared plus x squared is 12 squared. 36 plus x squared is 144. Let's subtract that. And that gives me 108. And we will take the square root of 108, right? So there are two examples of the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so here's a word problem for the Pythagorean theorem. A company makes playground slides that are 12 feet long. They place the end of the slide 6 feet from the base of the ladder. how tall must the ladder be? So everybody knows what a slide looks like. It's going to go down this way, and we know that that is 12 feet long, right? And we all know that the ladder is what climbs up, so that's what I'm looking for. And they told me how far they put it from the ladder, right? How far this end of the slide is from the base of the ladder. And base just means bottom. And I told you that in geometry or Euclidean geometry, we can always assume that anything like a light pole or a ladder, not every ladder, anything that sticks straight out of the ground is going to be a right angle. Even though the world is a sphere, we're going to assume that it is a right angle with the ground. So let's solve this problem. And really the hard part was just drawing it, right? That's the only difference in what we just did and this. And this actually will be just like what we just did. So we're going to do x squared plus 6 squared is equal to 12 squared, right? X squared plus 36 is equal to 144. I squared everything. Subtract 36 from both sides. And since I just did this for the last problem, we know that that is 108. And we're going to take the square root of both sides, which was 10.4. The only difference in this is going to be that this tells me a length, right? So I have to say feet. And I will take off some points on the quiz if you don't put feet on the word problems. There's not going to be any of the hard questions where you had to break down anything on this quiz. There may be some later on, but there won't be any on this quiz. Okay, so I've gone ahead and graphed ABC, and these are the points we're going to be using. So if you remember, the last thing that you learned that's going to be on this quiz is finding the perimeter of a triangle on a graph. So when I find the perimeter of something on the graph, I'm going to be using the distance formula. And you will always be given a distance formula, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. That is D equals x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay? So there is the distance formula, what we'll be using. And we have to do this all the way around, so we have to get all three sides of this triangle. Right? So I'm going to start with the side AB, just because I like going in a circle, and that's what I've got y'all to do. It makes it a lot easier. So we're going to do B minus A, right? X2 would be 2, minus X1 is 1, plus y2, so y in my second point is 5, minus y from my first point is 1. Go ahead and subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1 squared. 5 minus 1 is 4 squared. That's 1 plus 16. And then square root of 17, which is 4.1. And that is going to be AB, right? So 4.1. And then we will do BC. And I just go from these two to these two and then all the way around because that's my three sides. So four minus 2 squared plus negative 2 minus 5 squared. 4 minus 2 is 2 squared plus negative 2 minus 5. They're the same sign, so they add. 2 plus 5 is 7. So that's a negative 7, right? 2 squared is 4. Negative 7 squared is going to be the same as 7 squared, which is 49. Add those two together, so then we can put that in the calculator. It comes out to be 7.28, and then the 8 rounds up, right? So we get 7.3. I'm going to write that on BC. Now, if I had gotten a smaller number here than here, I should have known that I was wrong, right? Move this down so we can see the next one. I'm going to do AC, right? Because I have to go back around. Or CA, either way works. And remember, you could have subtracted B from C or whatever, as long as you use the right 2 points. So I'm going to do 4 minus 1 squared, and then I'm going to start with C, negative 2 minus 1 squared. 4 minus 1 is 3, let's square that, plus negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, then negative squares, so it multiplies by itself, so I get 9 again. Add those together, we get 18. And let's take the square root of that. Four rounds down. Last step, we've got our 3 sides. All we gotta do now is add them all together, right? I'm gonna write that in blue. So that's 4.1 plus 7.3 plus 4.2, which we can just put in the calculator, and we will get 15.6. And that's my final answer. So there's what we started with. And we had to do all 3 of these, right? And then this is my actual answer. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? So good luck on that quiz that you have coming up.